much for this wonderful introduction, John. And I'm so happy to be here and hopefully share some of my, or I must say, our insights in education, especially on two of my favorite topics. One, on one hand, robotics, and as methodology, the notion of tinkering, of hands-on learning, of doing first and asking questions later. Because it seems tinkering in the word alone, it seems just frivolous. Well, you sit around in your basement tinkering a little bit with stuff and then magically new concepts or new ideas or a working car comes out. It is, I guess, the best way to get started with technology is by making an awful lot of mistakes, and you see the oopsie already sort of hovering over this picture. Working definition of a social robot, which we usually consider as a robot operating in a social context which takes an active role in the interaction with a physical embodiment. But isn't it amazing the kind of social attributes and social constructs that you immediately project on just a couple of two-dimensional shapes on a piece of paper? So immediately you recognize, oh my God, there's a horrible triangle, aggressive triangle, and the poor little circle was hiding away in the room. And the narrative sort of builds up with all the social construct, but you're projecting all of this on just a couple of two-dimensional shapes. A lot of complicated stuff is, I guess, about contextual awareness, which is, and that's something you have to look out for, something that we as humans are really good in. We do it all the time, and we know this all the time, and we have like elephant memory when it comes to conversations. Goal that you're after, the discovery that you're looking for, is usually more bound to serendipity rather than a real goal-oriented, goal-driven kind of thing. You simply set out on a journey and recognize the important or the useful things along the way, but it's not, okay, I sit down and I'm going to construct my own hurdy-gurdy today. So let's look into a book how to construct a hurdy-gurdy, find some wood. It's not the linear process. It is a process, but the discovery, the point that you're aiming at is much more a vague kind of thing than a real, well-defined, preset goal. And the way that these machines work is it's only working if they're really and radically accessible, available, and also visible. So tucking them away somewhere in a safe lab space behind closed doors is definitely not the way that people are going to use the 3D printer or laser cutter. But only if it's there, right there, visible in the lab, with the lab littered with 3D printed examples and laser cut examples, only then designers, students, visitors, researchers will think, oh, hang on, I can use that. Use tools from tinkering, but also storytelling, scenario-based design, other than just, well, we have to build a robot, so let's wield a screwdriver and soldering iron and make something. Of course, that's also usually my own direct and first approach. So if there's a problem, wield a soldering iron and let's solve it. But in this case, we really like to explore the project in a broader context. Or why on earth are we buying into this sort of rosy story of a robot that can recognize and senses your emotion, is completely context aware, knows, oh, we've been here before, and engage in these meaningful long-term conversations is of course in a way storytelling. So look, we're harmless, we're only making these cute little robots to dance, and we're not dangerous at all. Look, we can really do cute synchronized dances with all of the robots, and there's nothing military or shady or scary going on. At least in our course, there's no formal thing that I can put forward, like, here, this is how it is or should be. Like everything with ethics or especially topics like sustainability, it's something that's best debated or discussed or investigated through discussion. So that's also, again, one of the things, okay, much effort in interesting scripts and interaction with Pepper, and Pepper doing motions and exercises or being a kind receptionist. And then the real effective power of robots right now is in this thing with a touch sensor on the top and the purring motor somewhere in the middle region. Most of my projects are tailored for either creative industry, for theater, for movies, or at least more links to creative industry rather than the more straightforward robotics for industry. There's this whole maker movement, this upheaval of STEM education where you have nice kits, nice magazines and nice programs which allow children to engage with technology and really start with this learning. Creativity is always out of the box and open and all possibilities. But I strongly believe that real creativity only happens if you sort of restrict your thinking to a very good box and do the thinking from within the box.